Guten Morgen, Guten Tag, Gute Nacht. This is Trey Heath, the host of the Warrior Pulse podcast, and today I am honored. I have Isabel Niehoff and I have Svenja Koenig, both from Germany, both seniors. One of them a senior in the master's program, one of them a senior in the undergrad program. One a tennis player, one a volleyball and tennis player. We're going to discuss how they ended up at Weber, what they're studying, what the future looks like, and obviously, we're going to ask about what it means to be a Warrior at some point. So, both of you came to Florida in 2017 to join Weber. You joining the volleyball program, you joining the tennis program. You're studying integrated marketing communications, which we're going to get into, and you did business management in 3 years. So, Svenja, we're going to talk to you first. How did you end up at Weber?
So back in 2017, that was my last year of high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to start studying Germany just yet. So I looked a little bit into my options, and one thing what I liked about the US is that you have the chance to study and play your sport whilst doing that. So I thought it was really interesting, so I looked into that and I started working with a German organization, and they had a couple of partner universities in the States. And then I started looking into that, and I saw they had a school in Florida, Weber, and they had a really good volleyball program. So I got in contact with the old coach, Lindsay Martin, and then I really liked it. I mean, obviously I couldn't come visit, but from what I saw, it looked really nice, and then I decided to come here, and my initial plan was only to stay for a year, learn English, get the experience, and then go home, but still here.
We'll touch on that in a little bit because that is something that drives my curiosity when it comes to an international player student coming to the States. Isabel, how did you end up coming to the U.S.?
Well, so when I was in 11th grade, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I thought I might probably study education or something like that in Germany, and then I played a tournament. And this woman came up to me and she was like, oh, like you play really good, and I think you would have fun going to the US and playing tennis there and studying. And then she gave me the information from an agency, so then I just talked to them. And then I just talked to a lot of different coaches from all over the US, but I liked Weber the most. It was in Florida, that was like a bonus for sure. And yeah, so I actually decided only 2 months before I actually came here that I was gonna go. So it was pretty spontaneous, but yeah.
Well, being the redneck Floridian that I am, and having dealt with international students since 1990 when I was an athlete way back when, I've always been curious, what draw, I know it's Florida, but being from another country, what do international students know about Florida? Like, everybody wants to come to Florida, but what are the selling points of Florida? I've always said it's Miami and Disney World. So can one of you tell me what the selling point is? Why do people want to come to Florida?
To me, honestly, because I'd never been in the US before this. And then I always just thought, oh, I want to go to California. Like, that was my dream. And then the agency told me, oh, everybody wants to go to Florida or California. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go to California, but let's see. And then I got the offer from the Florida University, and then I just thought, oh, Florida, the weather is great, and the beaches. That was like my two big things, like only the weather and the beaches.
And Svenja?
It's pretty similar. For me, Disney was one of them. When I heard Weber is somewhat close to Orlando, I was like, oh, I'll go to Disneyland, which actually I've only been once. So. But then, yeah, the beaches and the weather mainly. I mean, Sunshine State, then Germany too.
I'm not going to lie, my dad, when he was the head coach here, one of his selling points was we're 4 hours from Miami. Mm-hmm. Because, South Beach and obviously Disney. And back in the days, you could get to St. Pete in an hour and you could get to Bureau in an hour. So that was a good selling point because kids could go to the beach. Let's get into the academic side. Svenja, we'll start with you. You started with the business management. You accomplished that in 3 years. Now you're working on your master's in sport management, and you're going to be done in August.
Yeah.
You stated at the beginning you wanted to stay for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Many students have come, and you're here for 4 to 5 years, depending on your degree. Many students have come, and they decide, you know what? I'm going to stay here for 2 years, then I'm going to go see another part of the U.S. What made you stay to actually finish 2 degrees?
I just like the environment here at Weber a lot. It's obviously not a big school, which I think was, for me, like it helped me settle down, like, because coming from a different country, it is really overwhelming in the beginning. So having like a classroom where there's only like 30 students in it, like it helps. You always could go to talk to your professors. They would always help you out. So, well, that's why I stayed for my undergrad. And then COVID happened during my last semester. That was last spring. And then I had to leave on pretty short notice in the spring. I left I think I left on April 1st. And it was just, it didn't end, like I couldn't really say goodbye to everyone. And it was just not the ending I wanted for like these 3 years. And then Weber just changed their master's program from 1.5 years to 1 year. And then I was like, you know what, I just really didn't like how it ended. And so I decided to come back. And I mean, I made a lot of friends here. So that was one of the main reasons for sure.
And you got to play volleyball one more time.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And by the way, she was second team all-conference this year. So congratulations on that honor.
Thank you.
So Isabel, let's go to you. You're finishing up now. And you're looking, you are that international student that's looking for an opportunity to see something else. What made you want to stay to finish the degree? And then also, what's kind of driving you to look for that next opportunity?
So I stayed here for 4 years because I like the environment too and the people. Definitely like my friends that I've made here. I did not want to leave after a year because I had such great friends. And then yeah, I just really liked the tennis program and I liked the degree that I got here and I liked the professors as well. Like I really liked my classes, so that was a big point for sure. And now going somewhere else, I've loved my time here for 4 years, but I always said I do want to go somewhere else at some point, just see, because like I said, I had never been in the United States before I came here, so I just want to see how it is to live in a different part of the US, and so that's what I want to do and just experience another experience in life somewhere else.
Well, let's stay on that for a moment because you're from Bad Bentheim, and which you said was close to the Netherlands. So here in the U.S., like especially here in Central Florida, you're kind of a far away to get out and go see like another state. Mm-hmm. Being that close to other countries, having the opportunity to have traveled, it was so cool to get in a car and drive 6 hours. And I was in France and Italy, and what's it like kind of being here versus being at home and that closeness of other countries and other cultures?
It is definitely different. Like my last night at home now, I just went and got sushi with a friend in the Netherlands, and you can definitely not do that here. But at the same time, if you drive like 6 hours to the next state, it's still a little different, and you get to see different places. So I think in a way it's similar, but also completely different because when I drive 20 minutes, I hear a different language. You don't get that here, so that's probably the biggest difference, the languages. Yeah.
And you, Svenja, you're from, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Pforzheim. And that's in southern Germany. Mm-hmm. So what's it like culturally for you? Like you stated that you're very close with your family. And what's it like being able to go to different cultures so readily versus you're here. It's it's very different.
Yeah, it is very different. I mean, it was a really big change in the beginning, and especially, I mean, I live in a bigger city too, and then coming to Babson was a big change. I mean, I grew up, I took the bus every day to school and back, and I took the bus to see my friends, and then here, kind of in the middle of nowhere, but, I mean, I learned to live with it, and, well, culturally, it was a big shock in the beginning too. I mean, I was in the U.S. twice before I actually came here, but it was always with my family, and it's always a different experience being on a family trip.
Yeah. And don't really get to know the people.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things culturally I wanted to talk about is what is something that you've really enjoyed, and you guys can take turns and answer this. What is something you've really enjoyed about being in the U.S., and what is something you just miss from home? And either one of you can answer first.
Well, I can say what I definitely miss. I miss the German food. When I first got here, we both we ate in the cafeteria, and we just ate way too much because we thought, oh, this is so great, so much soda every day and ice cream.
And we gained a lot of weight.
We gained a lot of weight, both of us. So ice cream for lunch and for dinner every day. And in Germany, just like the food is just healthier. I don't know. It's just you could eat the same thing, but it's made differently and it's healthier. So that's one point or one thing that I miss. Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so what I really liked when I first got here is that Americans are way more open than Germans. Like, when I first got here, all my teammates, they were like, hey, can I help you? Can I take you to Walmart? And all like that, everything like that. Whereas Germans, they're like a little more distant at first. Like, I remember all of my teammates came and hugged me. And I'm like, oh, in Germany we shake hands if I don't know you. And so that was something, or I still obviously like it when you go into a store, everyone greets you because you're not really used to that at home. Because Germans are, like I said, just a little more distant.
Yeah, I laugh because I figured when the COVID thing happened, social distancing was no problem for the German culture because you guys do have that bubble that it takes a while to penetrate. But I think it's funny you talked about the food. When I had the opportunity to travel to Germany, that is one thing. Every morning the breakfast was fresh, and it was like, and you talked about the ease of transportation. Like, we're so used to here in the U.S. we just drive, but over there I hopped on the train, got on the bus, and everything was like close. It's just a different cultural setup. Both of you are athletes, but you're not just athletes on campus. Svenja, you've tutored, you work in the bookstore, so you kind of have these American-esque jobs working at the school. Isabel, you also tutored. You are interning for Joyce, who is one of our bosses here in the AD's office. You are a member of PBL, which we've talked about PBL with the business leaders, and you're also the social media manager for PBL. I have to ask, what's it like tutoring for both of you? What's it like tutoring someone whose first language is not your first language?
Sometimes it was hard. Just because, explaining math problems, sometimes they seem so simple to me, but then obviously not to someone else. And then it was just so hard to sometimes I felt like I couldn't really explain myself. Like, I knew how to do it, and I tried to figure it out. I mean, we all know how it works when you don't understand a problem, you look at it and you really don't understand it. So trying to explain it to a person that speaks English perfectly, and then sometimes I felt like I was stuttering and I was trying to show him, and sometimes it didn't really work out and it was hard, but I mean, we did it for a while and then eventually you got used to it and you understood how to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but that's also a reason why I never wanted to tutor math. So I kind of only tutored in English and marketing, and then English is also kind of funny because I tutored English and that's not my first language, and I tutored people and their first language is English. So that was, a little ironic, but I enjoyed it because I just told them, okay, your grammar is wrong. But so.
That's gotta be so demeaning coming from the second language speaker. One of the things that you've been here, been to the beach, been to Disney, do all those things. So take it for us, if we go to Germany and you both live in different areas, what is something, because we think of Germany, I think of Germany, I'm a huge racing fan. I think of all the wonderful racetracks you have. I think of the tennis, going to Stuttgart and playing and Volkswagen and Porsche and and the Autobahn. But what is something that someone wants to go to Germany and visit? We tell you, you have to come to the beaches. What do you tell us we have to see?
For me personally, it depends on what time of the year you come, but right now, we just have snow right now, or we did have snow for Christmas too, and I live really close to the Black Forest, and my family and I, every once in a while, we just drove out 40 minutes, and you were in winter wonderland. So I would recommend, if you're somewhere in the south, and it is winter time, and you have the chance to see the mountains, snow, it's so pretty. I would definitely recommend doing that, right now.
Yeah, also Christmas. I always love Christmas markets in Germany. And that's something that if you come in the wintertime, you should do that or go to a Christmas market because there's so many cool stands with such different things. They're all handmade and you have never seen those things before in your life. It's like scarves or plates. You can buy whatever, or also food, like great food, and everybody comes together, and everybody drinks their like warm wine, and it's a fun time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome. You both are going to be transitioning as graduates. You're going to go into the master's. You're going to be finishing. What's the desire? We'll start with you, Svenja. Do you want to go home? Do you want to stay in the U.S. or do you have a desire to go someplace else in the world?
That's a really good question. A lot of people ask me that. I am not too sure yet what I want to do. I mean, my plan was always to go home. I mean, after my first year and then my next 3 years. But I don't know anymore because I just feel like I'm so young. Like, I'm just 21. I'm turning 22. I'm done with my master's. So, like, I don't know if I'm really ready to, like, settle down yet and work a full-time job. But, I mean, I do have to start eventually. I know I want to work in the sports industry for sure. But, like I said, I really don't have any plans yet, but I know I should figure that out soon.
So the adventuresome heart's still there. You can't nail it down, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to not have that clarity because you are young, and the doors are open for you. Isabel, what about you?
Well, I just now think I should just try to plan ahead 1 or 2 years. So right now, my 1 or 2 years is I'll do my master's somewhere, and after that, I will probably have another different opinion or mindset. So right now, I want to stay in the US for 2 years, see where I'm gonna be, and then eventually I want to go back to Germany too. But if it's after 2 years or longer than that, I don't know yet.
All right. I don't have this written down, but I want to find out, Svenja, what is a hidden talent that you have that no one knows about? What is something that you do that like you're really good at that no one knows?
A hidden talent. I would say I don't know if I'm really good at it, but I would say I'm decent at baking at home. Here, I really don't bake. I mean, because we don't have most of the tools and supplies and everything you need, and I'm too lazy or cheap to buy that. But at home, we have the perfect equipment, and I love baking. It's so much fun. Like when I was home for the summer for a really long time, I tried so many recipes and baked a lot of cakes, and my whole family loved it. So maybe
So
that.
like sweet baking.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that sounds delicious.
Not cooking. Cooking skills are not that great.
Isabel?
That's really a tough one. I have 2. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
talent.
Two's
but,
fine, yeah.
So first of all, I'd say acting, because I've always loved acting when I was younger. I always loved to be on stage and always did all the theater in school. So that is definitely a big one. I always wanted to be an actress. Like when I was 3 years old, that was my biggest dream. I actually wrote casting agencies when I was 11 years old. Like I emailed them, I sent them pictures of myself and was like, I want to come and do this. And then the other thing might be like research, because like it's also for the tennis team, you know this, like every time when we have a game, I'm gonna be the person, okay, you're gonna play against this girl and this is her ranking, and then she has played against this girl and does this, and it doesn't even matter, like not only tennis, every kind of field in life, I can research about something, so yeah.
So there's nothing about dancing in your world?
Well, dancing, yes, but I didn't want to say that that's my talent, because I love dancing and I've done that from like when I was 3 years old to until I came here, so that was definitely a big part of my life for sure, but yeah.
Well, we talk about the education, the athletic side, the social side, all the different things that make a student a student. Do you feel that both of you have integrated yourself into the American culture somewhat, that you kind of enjoy it, or do you still kind of like, I'm just German?
I think I have. Like when I go back home, my family's always like, oh, like the way you talk as well when you speak German now, it's kind of like American, and then also how you're around with people, or like how you get excited. It's just like kind of different, because in America I'd say it's all not more dramatic, but in a way you're just more overly for something, extremely for something. So when I'm home and then my parents are always like, oh, you get so excited and you're like so friendly to everyone, because I think that's how, because here I feel like to me it's always kind of easy here. You friendly with everyone, you talk to anyone, and in Germany you don't do that. So I've adapted that for sure.
Yeah, I agree with Isa. It's the same for me. At first, coming here was a little like oh, okay, Americans are a lot different, but I think, yeah, we adapted to it, and yeah, I mean, but like I said it earlier, I really liked it, like this whole being open and speaking to everyone, so that is something I think I'm doing now too, but it's definitely not a bad thing in my opinion.
Well, you both talked about the openness and the dramatic side. You did watch our last election, so that'll tell you. We always finish up with my favorite question, and we're going to go with the person that's further along in her degree seeking. Svenja, what does it mean to be a warrior?
To me, being a warrior means being part of a big, diverse family and getting to play the sport that I love every day while earning my degree and whilst living in the Sunshine State.
Good answer.
I thought about it a lot.
To me, I think it means, being a part of the big Weber family and also learning about different cultures and accepting the cultural differences. Yeah.
Well, we just want to say thank you for joining us. This episode has been I love the German culture. I've been around it since 1991, and I absolutely love getting the perspective from other cultures. And this has been wunderbar to be with both of you. And I look forward to everybody listening to us on episode 14 of the Warrior Pulse. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Danke.